By Jove! One day I'll find a smoother way through these linking books, mark my words. Atris, my good fellow, I've come to Ancient Tombs of Myst Library, deciphering what little scraps of lore I could. But while I'm at it, I stumbled upon a poor soul's grave. Tiana, I think, was written on... Oh, okay, sorry, I'll wait. What are you doing? What are you doing? Atris? Put the book down. No, wait, hold on! Bugger all. Gone before the question could even leave my lips. I guess some mysteries are best left buried. Okay. Hey, greetings! Hey, greetings, hirelings. Forgive the silence. The rogue's work is never truly done now, is it? A bit of skulking here, a dash of diplomacy there, and naturally, keeping the tavern in fine form. Granted, even though the unseen servants do almost all the work. But enough of that. Today I bring you a tale from the world of Riven, the 2024 remake, mind you, and not its ancient predecessor from 1997. Wait, 1990s? Has it been that long? By the shadows, I feel positively aged now. Time, it seems, waits for no one, especially not a halfling. So it was in the works for all this time. I always thought these interactors sprouted like mushrooms after a spring downpour. A touch of magic, a dash of creativity, and then poof, an entire interactive. What's that supposed to mean? Well, anyways, where were we? Let's see. 5 CD-ROMs? You mean those platters of knowledge? Okay, a truly bygone relic of its time. And this interactive, it graced mighty consoles such as PlayStation and Sega Saturn. My word, ancient history indeed. It was praised by critics as a bestseller, and was even unleashed upon the world on All Hallows Eve. 1.5 million copies sold. Quite the accomplishment for its time. Like its predecessor, it's a first-person point-and-click. But this remake, it brings something new to the table. 3D graphics, free full movement, and what ho! VR capability. Wait, VR? What is that again? Right, virtual reality. A baffling contraption, I gather. Always a few steps ahead of me, ain't you? Well, you do keep the best toys for yourself. But enough of the preamble. Let's get to it. Plot. Yes, the heart of it all. Shall we delve into the story behind this here interactive then? Atris, bless his soul, drops us right into it. Catherine, his dear wife, snatched by dear old Pop again. Atris in a right fluster needs our help. Capture again, free Catherine, send a signal. Simple enough, yeah? Almost like nicking sweets from a kobold. If the kobold had a sorcerer's wand up its sleeve. This chap? No notion of common. Elvish for that matter. Abyssal? No, not even close. Though I've heard worse from gnome bards after too much fire breath. Does that do anything? Oh, hey, there you go. Oh? Uh-huh. And then poof! A masked stranger appears, like a ninja. Or perhaps a disgruntled stage magician. One poison dart later, and I was left with a dazed captive. Oh, thank you. I knew you were good. I knew you were good. Whatever you just did there. I guess to make that not happen again. A chase ensued, of course. But alas,
No.
they vanished on some contraption of rail and steel, faster than a greased weasel. But then, an earthquake.
Whoa.
Oh, not my
What
first.
is happening here?
Felt rather reminiscent of the Undermountain, actually. Chasing after the Phantom? As a fool's errand if ever there was one. So naturally, I took to exploring. Found a looking glass pointing straight down into the star fissure itself. Much like a Harper's portal, but without all that annoying magic nonsense. Then I stumbled upon a circular chamber with 5 golden beetles and stained glass images that only showed brief glimpses in time. There was some writing, but I skipped over it. Too much like paperwork for my taste. Besides, when you're immortal, time is something you can afford to waste. It's not something I'm too keen on doing.
Lots of beetles. A lot of beetles. Way too many beetles.
The one image stood out. Gen with a halo. Atris falling into the fissure, but plot twist, it looks like Gen caused the rift to cast out his own son. Quite a different tale than the one we were told in the first interactive. And that halo, it appeared in every single depiction of Gen. Odd that. You don't often see halos unless you're perusing the old scriptures, or meeting some overly pious folk. It's typically reserved for angels, priests, and monks in older paintings and murals in the Christian faith. And then, of course, 5. The number 5 everywhere. 5 beetles, 5 pillars, 5 switches, 5 everything. I swear, it's like dealing with obsessive-compulsive kobolds. This imager room spun like a conjured-up top. 5 views and hidden paths and switches, steam pipes. All tech I understood, mind you. Reminded me a bit of the steamworks back in Baldur's Gate, though without the occasional explosions. A spinning half-sphere with a strange eye-shaped lens. No idea what it was for, but it certainly looked like some kind of rotoscopic animation. A big golden dome, with a broken linking book and 5 pipes. Now, hold on a second. Gen's not supposed to have a means of traversal. He's stuck here, isn't he? Something's off about this whole setup. Suspicious, I say. 5 alcoves with those strange eye shapes pointing at domes or islands. A connection, no doubt. Testing my theory, I ventured into the rotoscopic dome, only to be trapped, naturally. But no matter. A few moments later, the inner section opened to reveal metallic walkways, small spheres, a large round rock, and... I fiddled with the controls and... et voilà! Quick travel across the islands, like some archaic teleportation device. Another rotoscopic lens, a few buttons, noted. Then, an effigy. Odd. It reminded me of something a goblin shaman might carve after a particularly bad batch of mushrooms. More effigies, wooden sculptures, a rotating piece, and that blasted dagger motif. It nagged at me like a bad rash, so of course I had to turn it. Aha! A telescope, pointing at another island. And look! There's some light reflecting back at me. Fancy that!
Yaffa,
Hell. Hi. How are you?
you made
Who
it.
are you?
But how did you get past Gen?
Catherine's cutscene showed me she knew the prison book I needed, but much to my chagrin, she gave me absolutely nothing to go off of. So I was left to my own devices, and with the ever-helpful presence of my stream chat, I ventured back through the star fissure to pick up where I left off.
Everything's fine.
But one question nagged at me as I explored. does creating these books simply link to places that already exist, or does the creation of the books conjure the realm and its inhabitants into existence? A question with no answer. At least, not yet. A lower path, a broken walkway, and a switch to pull. Oh, chaos ensued, naturally. That should power that bit, so that way we can lower it down, or... Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Okay. Okay. Hold on. Wait. Is it too late? How do I get over there? Oh, one way to travel quickly dashed, if ever there was one. Ah, a hidden area. Viewport security, a large chair, more switches, and, of course, a button. My idle hands couldn't resist. Everything opened, lights glowed, which was a bit unnerving, but what's a rogue to do? So I left in a hurry, and crossed the bridge after the masked figure, albeit quite a bit delayed. A temple with fish statues and offerings. Now, it's a bit blasphemous of me to say this, but after the Galena Mountains, I'm not one for temples. Too much misdirection and trickery. Gaslighting, even. Not my kind of thing. Then came the forest path. More effigies. A beach with sunbathing creatures like sloths at a party. Delightful, really. My favourites thus far. Hello. Hey, don't mind me. Go back to sleep. Come on. There you go. Yeah, I like them. They make goofy noises. That stone archway. Familiar, yes? Oh, the reflective piece. And look! It revealed hidden paint. Invisible ink. Aha! Another connection. By Halfling's lock, I stopped the water flow, used the lens, and a symbol emerged. The looking glass started to glow at the edge. Clearly important. Time to make another note. Further along, glowing flowers. Okay, so that's the source of the paint. And yet another effigy. What a peculiar bunch of symbols. The village was securely fastened, its gates closed tight. Beneath the surface of the water, a submersible made its steady passage. I took great care to observe where it might halt before I, in turn, retraced my steps to a narrow set of stairs leading down to a schoolhouse. Curious indeed. An alphabet, but not one of the familiar form. No, these symbols, there are more of them than one might find in the common tongue. 35 in total. A cipher, perhaps? In truth, it bears resemblance to the systems used in other languages, where symbols represent the sounds we utter rather than the individual letters. Typically, such systems employ 40 to 50 symbols, though one might reasonably reduce this to 35. Quite intriguing. In the corner of the room, a game caught my eye. A roulette wheel suspended with humanoid figures and a fish. The same fish I had seen at the temple. Now, the symbols on the wheel appeared to represent numbers, but of an unconventional sort, based on a 5-part system, if I'm not mistaken. Adjacent to this was a piece of paper bearing some of these very symbols, along with a triangular arrangement, a code within a code. It quickly became apparent that this was no simple enigma, but a veritable Matryoshka doll of riddles. But how to position the rotating effigy? The answer came to me in a flash. The looking glass, of course. It was the key to unlocking this mystery. Though I scarcely yet grasped the full depth of what lay before me, it was indeed a profound discovery. A small bit of backtracking led me to jot down the symbols of the effigy totems in my ledger. Armed with this newfound intelligence, I returned to the forest and the locked area where that same dagger motif awaited. I traced its line descending into a bioluminescent grotto. Another totem stood there, though bereft of its numbered piece. However, I was able to deduce the symbol that belonged to it. Again, I found myself wandering the forest, where my eye was drawn to a fish-shaped sculpture embedded within a tree. Shortly after, a path presented itself winding through said trees, and I followed it within. A lift system most assuredly. But how to activate it? That mystery would have to wait, as I had more pressing matters to uncover. A further journey brought me to a minecart descending into the bowels of the island, where I arrived at a caldera. A curious place indeed. With a central lake flanked by a walkway leading to steam controls, and 3 pipes in attendance. 2 of them, I noted, were connected to machinery depicted in the stained glass window images. So this is how they fabricate the linking book pages. Ingenious. Time for a bit of experimentation. I found a ladder leading to a building, though it was, alas, inaccessible. Nearby, I discovered a discarded stove, its contents charred, but there I spied a linking book. Puzzling, yes, but I was confident clarity would arrive in time. Manipulating the burner mechanism, I set about adjusting levers and switches. Eventually, I extinguished the burners, drained the water, and made my way to the drainage pipe, which led to the building above. I lowered the ladder for ease of return and entered the cave. Odd. This cave seemed connected to the building, yet it descended into another conveyance. Curious. Small hand tools lay scattered about, and as I interacted with them, a round stone fell onto a cloth. Careful handling was required here. Of that much I was certain. But to what end? I placed the stone in the lift, ascending with caution. Inside the building, I found myself surrounded by machinery and research equipment. Books, notes, and strange contraptions. A soft chirping drew my attention to a small cage. Opening it, I released a small red frog, which promptly met its untimely end. Probes like those found in a modern hospital were scattered around. I manipulated several levers and buttons, and to my great delight, one revealed one of the very white spheres I had seen near the quick travel fissure. Drawers filled with samples of flora and fauna caught my eye, all bearing that 5-fold motif. One glass sphere in particular held water that defied the heat. Remarkable. But the most significant find was the missing effigy totem piece. I carefully notated its associated number. And nearby I found bookbinder's tools, including a binding press. In the center of the room, a large flywheel-powered machine that appeared to smooth the white stones into perfectly round spheres. The notes proved invaluable. One referenced the base value of the white spheres, another compensation adjustments. Simple calculations based on the quick travel sphere symbols, though the base value remained elusive. Oh, another note! This one concerned the search for the totem piece. The writer seemed aware of its importance, yet was unable to fathom its true meaning. The journal itself, however, was most telling. Gen's workshop. He can create books and travel. Dreadful news indeed. Had Atris been aware of this, our plan would have taken a different course. Now, Gen spoke of the 5-fold motif in its words, declaring them to be beautiful and perfect. Gen's journal revealed that the fire marbles were the key. When struck with sufficient force, they provide the energy needed for linking books. and the rotoscopic domes harness power from the fissure, linking it to the marbles, by extension, to those new books as well. He also mentioned a connection between islands and cubic shapes, a correlation I have yet to fully comprehend. The final revelation was a chilling one. His hiding place within the Golden Dome. Armed with this newfound knowledge, I cleaved the stone I had brought, subjected it to a stress test that revealed its base value. I was able to calculate the equations for each fire marble. Yet the dome still required power, which necessitated the remaining rotoscopic domes. 2 doors presented themselves. One led to the caldera's upper path, where I discovered a hidden staircase descending to another rotoscopic dome. I ventured into the fissure, connected a fire marble, and returned back to the caldera. The other path regrettably led to a bridge I had already destroyed. And with no means of returning to the Dome Island, I took the remaining doorway to a tram that led me to yet another island. This new island was an awe-inspiring sight. Stone spires rising from a green pool, with metal platforms suspended above. A lift complete with a 5x5 button grid offered 2 controls, one ascending, the other inert. The upper path provided a view of the platforms below, along with the sliding puzzle. The shapes Gen had mentioned became apparent here, and by arranging them correctly, I revealed 5 buttons which raised the platforms to form a topographical map of the realm. These same buttons also corresponded to the lift's combination. Memorizing this, I proceeded down another path, momentarily distracted by a large fish in the volcanic pool before encountering yet another rotoscopic sphere. The viewing lens here was slightly askew, making interaction difficult. But with my halfling luck, I succeeded on my first attempt, and this allowed me to connect the 4th fire marble. Returning to the topography island, I entered the lift combination and descended into a hidden underground chamber. A platform there overlooked the watery depths, flanked by levers. The left lever activated a security system, switching between cameras that monitored various locations in the realm. One watched over Catherine. Another observed the trap where I had first appeared. The guard attempted to replicate his earlier capture. The other lever had 6 rotoscopic symbols, each illuminating a colored light when pressed. Another piece of Gen's puzzle. As I reflected on these new notes, it became clear. The giant fish I had summoned was no coincidence. Wait a minute. Hold on. Is that... You eat people? I think he eats people. Does that mean that... Hold on. Does that mean that in the village, the entire village overlooks the execution spot? That's really messed up. That's really messed up. Gen, it seems, employed fear as his means of control over the villagers. A lamentable state of affairs I hoped to rectify. Returning to the tram, I rotated it to access a new path. A lever here revealed a lift descending into the water, where a winding path awaited me. Hey, up! Another human! Come here. Come here. I want you to be my friend. Where are you going? No, where are you going? Where are you going? What are you doing? Yeah, I see your face. I'll remember you. Following swiftly, I found myself back upon the forest island, but by a newly revealed path and lift. By the gods! The fish sculpture in the tree! This meant access to the rotoscopic dome above. With his final trip to the fissure, I powered the last fire marble. Returning to the forest dome, I found another lift overlooking the execution site. Its controls permitted me to close the platform below. Yet, the village remained locked away. With no other recourse, I returned to the Golden Dome. Within the temple, a most unsettling sight. Gen's visage upon the imager. He was near. I hurried to his chamber only to find it empty. Disappointed, I returned to the central platform and the dormant linking book. And with my newfound understanding, its activation was now in sight. I pressed a button and eagerly began the fire marble puzzle. The prison book remained elusive. Was it wise to seek out Gen? Perhaps. Surely even a tyrant would not imprison me, though I could not know for certain without venturing forth. Entering this new realm, I was indeed caged. The villainous Gen appeared, launching into a monologue most grandiose. He offered an apology for the rustic accommodations, attributing them to prudence. His oratory, after some time, devolved into a beseeching plea for my allegiance, extolling his supposed virtues. My attention, however, was riveted elsewhere, upon his pipe, which I suspect was filled with the finest halfling leaf. Gen was well aware of our linking book to Denis, though he appeared blissfully ignorant of its modification. With veiled impatience, he demanded that I locate and deliver it to him. So the plan proceeded, though the moiety remained an enigma. The village, the one area I had yet to explore, was clearly the key, but how to access it? A great deal more exploration was required. Backtracking to the newest tram, I discovered a hidden path by rotating and exiting it. Most fortuitous, this led me directly to the submersible. Precisely what I required. With it, I was able to traverse the village platforms. At the execution platform, I was presented with a sequence of buttons which enabled my ascent to a most curious prison cell. Inside, a man. I called out, offering my promise to free him. Yet upon opening the cell, I found it utterly empty. What sorcery was this? Confusion took hold. And then I remembered the looking glass. With this most remarkable tool, I discovered a hidden button and a passage leading into a cavern of impenetrable darkness, yet illuminated by a marvelous fire marble system. Each light, when lit, would eventually reveal a branch of a path. One led to an entrance concealed in the forest, where the bioluminescent rods activated in the proper pattern revealed a secret door. Yet the other path wound into a candlelit chamber, its walls adorned with stones engraved with the symbols of the effigy totems. Only one totem remained, that above the village. With this knowledge in hand, I returned to the submersible and navigated through the village to the watering mechanism. As I activated the flow of water, blossoms unfurled, revealing the final totem's shape. And nearby, a steam contraption. When sealed, diverted water from a submersible platform. Now, I had assumed there were only 5 symbols given the persistent motif, but ever the insatiable curious halfling, I ventured further into the newly unlocked path. Moving the submersible, I returned to the steam area, descended, and discovered another totem. A 6th, and according to my notes, this was number 5. With all 6 totems now accounted for, I returned to the stone symbol puzzle and entered the correct sequence. A linking book appeared. Curiously, this book lacked the traditional power source. Instead, it employed a shifting stone. Ingenious. This sufficed to activate it, whisking me away to another realm. But first, I took a moment to peruse Atris's journal, eager to catch up on the events unfolding. A tad late perhaps, but better late than never. The journal revealed much. Atris's motivations, his plan to imprison Gen and thwart his interdimensional travels. It detailed the prison book, an apparatus so diabolically clever that it would trap one individual, yet allow another to take their place upon use. Atris had been modifying Riven's linking book, aiming to slow its inevitable decay whilst searching for Catherine. This journal predated our Myst adventure. It described our very arrival and the role we played in his grand design. And with my understanding now complete, I activated the linking book. By the gods, the vista that greeted me. Haunting, yet undeniably beautiful. As I surveyed the surroundings, I was set upon by two figures. One was a masked figure, who promptly incapacitated me. I collapsed into a partial faint as they dragged me to a cell. And upon regaining my senses, a woman appeared, speaking in that strange tongue. I could discern a few words. Among them, Catherine. She left several books behind, one of which was, to my astonishment, my prison book. Soon after, I was released. Clearly, this realm was crafted for the moiety and their rebellious kin. Strangely, a statue of Catherine stood within this realm. Were the moiety a consequence of the events between her, Atris, and Gen? Though my primary objective remained returning to Riven. Among the books, I discovered a journal written by Catherine herself. It contained a note detailing a method to signal Atris. Huzzah! I had been pondering that very thing, and this journal confirmed my suspicions. The moiety were akin to the villagers of the forest, but after the conflict between Gen and Atris, some of the villagers had come to revere Catherine, thanks to her knowledge of the bookmaker's language. The Rivenese treated her with reverence, though it was not until a play depicting their interpretation of the history of the three that Catherine realized her own deification. A later entry revealed Gen's secret escape route from Riven, along with a partially destroyed linking book experiment which the moiety had used to create Tay. So that realm that we had just visited was named Tay. Catherine, it seemed, frequently returned to Riven, attempting to sway the remaining villagers and aid their escape to Tay. This, I surmised, accounted for her downfall. Another invaluable diagram emerged. A 10-digit combination in the moiety's numbering system. For the Starvisor viewer? Okay, that's our signal to Atris. With this knowledge in place, only one task remained: convincing Gen to use the prison book. Returning to Realm 233, Gen examined the book, eagerly anticipating my use of it. Aware of its trick, I placed my hand upon it and was transported into the void. Gen, observing from the viewport, declared it safe and followed suit, thus trapping himself within. Success! 5 hours, but success nonetheless. And now with full access to 233, I had much to explore. A music player, and Gen's halfling leaf pipe, which I, alas, could not partake of. A travesty, but outside I did find a fire pit, and another of Gen's experiments. Upon a closer look, a book with 234 inscribed upon its cover. Surely Gen had outdone himself this time. That means the other book upstairs was book number 235. I guess it's typical for him to just burn all of his experiments that fail. Back in his office, I restored power to the Riven linking book and descended into his personal bedroom. Within his bedroom lay another imager, alongside his personal journal. The journal contained his desire to capture someone with a Riven linking book, using the initial Cage. He had attempted to teach the children of Riven the linking book language, as part of an escape route, it seems. The journal also recounted the demise of the Denis, and Gen's obsessive quest to resurrect them, seeking their bookmarking secrets. This, at last, explained his obsession with Denis. His mother, an outsider, had been the catalyst for their downfall of the Denis, but no further details were provided. Did this explain Gen's failed realms? And if so, would Myst and its links, also given Atris's partial Denis heritage, also fail? A troubling revelation indeed. But alas, time was not on our side, and dwelling upon such matters was a luxury we could ill afford. The liberation of Lady Catherine was paramount. Nevertheless, my innate curiosity led me to examine the imager and its cryptic codes. It appeared that the Denis Council, much like the Lords of Waterdeep in their endless deliberations, had opposed the woman and her audacious vision of interdimensional travel. Yet the mystery surrounding the Denis' downfall and the catastrophic consequences of their bookmaking remained shrouded in enigma. With this conundrum weighing on my mind, I turned my focus to the noble task at hand, the rescue of Lady Catherine. Fortuitously, this proved less arduous than anticipated. The villainous Gen, in his hubris, had devised a device that replicated the very tones emitted by the lift buttons upon the prison island. A combination lock. Employing the wonders of quick travel, I hastened to the prison island and, with deft fingers, entered the correct combination, thus freeing the fair Catherine from her confinement. She in turn entrusted me with the task of signaling the noble Atris, providing the necessary combination from her journal. I hurried back to the Grand Dome Island, and with no small measure of daring, disengaged the fissure viewer from its metallic moorings.
Yeah, fuck it up. Yeah, fuck it all up. Oh, shit. Oh.
Oh wow, that was fast. Whoa, okay.
Oh, shit. No, it's fine. And now the world is gonna die, clearly. Hey, Atris. It's been a while.
There isn't much time. Where's Catherine? Where's the book? I don't understand.
Atris!
That's not good.
The villagers are safely in the Rebel Age.
Okay.
Thank you.
As do I. You've accomplished more than I could have hoped for. You've given me back my life. The path home is now clear for all of us.
Okay, let's get the f*** out. This is not good. We don't want to be here.
This is where our paths must part.
Wait, what do you mean our
Perhaps
paths
we'll
must
meet again
part?
someday.
What do you mean?
You know where to find me.
But you said our paths must part. What do you mean? No, don't you dare drop it.
Goodbye, my friend.
I will find you and I will murder you. You son of a bitch. You Yeah, okay. Sure.
And lo, with our precipitous plunge into the chaotic abyss below, the interactive reached its dramatic conclusion. Atris, in his desperation, betrayed my trust, placing his faith in the unpredictable whims of the fissure. A foolhardy gamble, if there ever was one. Bollocks indeed. This interactive, from a purely visual perspective, proved to be a veritable feast for the eyes. The fully rendered 3D models were simply exquisite, marking a marked improvement over the original static image and flickering videos. The soundscape as well was a delight. A symphony of pan flutes, drums and other indigenous instruments weaving melodies that would not be out of place in my scholarly pursuits. Unlike its predecessor Myst, Riven arrived in the form of 5 CD-ROMs, one for each island, necessitating frequent disc swapping, a trial for both man and machine. Thus, this reimagining was a most welcome breath of fresh air, offering a seamless experience free from the original's technical burdens. A minor quibble arose during my early attempts at broadcasting my adventures. The interactive employed DirectX 12, proving resistant to OBS's capture, resulting in visual anomalies and prolonged loading times. However, upon discovering the option to revert to DirectX 11, the capture proceeded without flaw, and loading times were greatly reduced. A valuable lesson learned, I dare say. The overall length of the interactive, though, seemed rather brief, much like its predecessor. However, I must confess I am a halfling after all, naturally curious and deft in the art of puzzle solving. My playthrough was concluded in a mere 6 hours. The environmental storytelling, woven seamlessly throughout journals and notes, was deeply profound and intricately crafted. I dare say, though, a deeper understanding of the Rivenese tongue would likely unveil additional secrets, though I confess I lack the inclination to delay the redestruction of the realm. Upon reflection, I can easily see how some might find the exploration paths perplexing. However, with a touch of halfling ingenuity and ample patience, backtracking and experimentation should reveal the way forward, provided one possesses a modicum of persistence. A most welcome addition in this rendition, compared to Myst, was the inclusion of a screenshot and note-taking system. Previously, I was compelled to maintain a separate journal and spreadsheet for my findings, an altogether tedious endeavor. This new system, however, streamlined the process considerably, though I did lament the absence of a dedicated button for instant notebook access. A minor oversight, to be sure. The controls themselves were rather unremarkable, adhering to the modern point-and-click interface that one might expect. The cursor provided helpful visual cues, and the interactive's options catered to a variety of players, including features such as automatic movement for ladders and closed captioning for the hearing impaired. Overall, quite intuitive and user-friendly. The design, though peculiar, was to be expected when one ventures into a new and unfamiliar realm. The technology, though unique, adhered to the fundamental laws of physics, making it relatively easy to comprehend and manipulate. The 3D character models, while imperfect, were certainly a step up from the original's video files. Many reviewers I have encountered criticize the alterations implemented in this version. However, I contend that these changes were necessary. The original puzzles, crafted for a more static environment, would appear utterly illogical in a fully realized 3D world. For instance, the original's reliance on precise alignment to view animal silhouettes has been ingeniously adapted to a looking glass, preserving the core concept while enhancing accessibility. In summation, this interactive proved immense enjoyment. The narrative continuing the series' enigmatic allure introduced a dash of skullduggery to the mix. Much like Myst, I award this game a platinum piece. The puzzles were intuitive, the solutions satisfying. The pacing was smooth, the entire experience brilliant. I can readily understand the original's impressive sales figures, and for a mere 35 USD, you too can partake in this adventure, or perhaps offer your support to Cyan, encouraging them to embark on a remake of Myst 3 Exile. Having said all that, I must now take my leave. My research into the Astral Sea beckons. Perhaps one day I shall master the art of linking books and journey to the stars myself. If this be your first encounter with my chronicles, I implore you to subscribe below and join my League of Hirelings. You may also find me on Twitch. Link provided below. Do come say hello. Now, I'm still currently processing my thoughts on the Silent Hill 2 remake and continuing my exploration of that realm. I have also recently completed the Tomb Raider 1-3 Remastered Collection, and when the next installment comes out, I shall be streaming those as well. Until my next journal entry, remember to remain vigilant, for one never knows when a shadow might cross one's path. Ta.